Okay, so we're going to be doing the chapter 5 exercises. So there's a total of 6 tables that we are going to be computing, as well as the conversion entries as well. So this is where we're going to be practicing what happens when we do have returns and allowances, and how I'm going to show you how to use the table so it makes it a little more easier for you to calculate your end result. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. All right, so here where every example is going to go over a series of whether one of the costing methods. We're going to look at all three in this exercise. So first one that we're going to start off with is going to be periodic, and it's FIFO. All right, and assume that all purchases were made on an account round to the nearest penny. Okay, so let's take a look at our first example. Here we have June 5th. Okay, so on June 5th, we decided to purchase a total of 1,000 units at $1 each, with the freight costing $50. Okay, so we're going to go to our first inventory table. So I labeled each one. So question number 1. All right, it is June 5th. We purchased 1,000 units at $1 with a freight of 50. So let's start calculating. All right, so what's my purchase price here?
1,000.
My total cost?
1,050.
1,050. Now, this one we're using FIFO, so do we need to do our cost per item?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so in this case, my total cost is 1,050 divided by 1,000.
105.
105. Good. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happened next. So on June 7th, we end up returning 200 of them because they were broken toys at a full refund. Okay. So we have a full refund here. What do we do with that?
You journalize it that on the, what was that, the 7th? June 7th?
Mm-hmm.
You put your date.
Okay, so we'll practice that right now. Sorry. Let me see. June 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so June 7. Okay.
And the description is a return of 200 items.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yes. But in this case, that's if we're gonna write the description that we're returning 200 items.
Yeah, at what, $2.10?
Why? Where did you get $2
Can I
and
see?
10
Let me
cents?
see the top again, please. The question at the top. Yeah, okay. On the 7th, return 200 broken items. So 1,000. So it came up to $1.10 each. So if they return 200, it came to a refund of $210.
All right, now listen. Can we return shipping?
The shipping cost?
Yes.
No, that's not returned.
No.
Oh,
So
so
we can't.
subtract that from it.
Good. So what can I actually return? How much did my toys actually cost me?
Dollar.
Oh,
A,
okay, $1 each.
$1 each, yes. All right, so hold on. I have to go back and practice this part here since I completely forgot. So we're okay. You have the idea. Okay.
So is that the returning allowance we doing right now?
Correct. We're doing a purchase returns and allowances. Now, since I said assume that everything is on an account, so let's go back to our first one. What did we do? We purchased inventory, right? So we created a purchase expense, right? And we had a freight expense. And we assumed that we paid everything on an account. Okay? Now, in my description, I'm going to go ahead and say I purchased 1,000 toys because I was specific on what I bought. All right, at $1 each. Okay? So, if I'm making a purchase returns and allowances, right? What is that? Is that what kind of account is a purchase returns and allowances? What kind of an account is a purchase returns and allowances? Okay. What does a purchase returns and allowances actually do if I have to use it?
Is that a credit memorandum?
You, um, when we go into QuickBooks, yes, that would be considered so. Yes. But we're dealing with accounting, so I kind of wanted to kind of bring
Is
it
it
down to a little.
accounts receivable?
It's not an accounts receivable, so we haven't talked about sales yet. We haven't talked about selling our items yet. Okay. So, all right. So Kim says it's a credit memo.
No, it's debit memo.
It's called, isn't it purchase return and allowances?
Right, but what my question is, what am I doing? Am I increasing my inventory or am I decreasing my inventory?
Decreasing?
Therefore, it's a
Debit.
Contra account.
it's a contra account, right? So if my original purchases was an expense, where would I put my purchase returns and allowance account?
On your credit.
On the credit side, correct. Okay, so in this case, it's a contra account because I'm trying to reduce my purchase expense because I'm refunding or returning my items at a full refund. Ooh. I'm going to do just allow for shorts, okay? So, okay, now that we understand that this is a contra account, right? We're reducing the inventory, right? We're reducing our purchase expense, okay? How did I pay for it? What am I getting a credit back for? if I'm requesting a full refund, did I make a payment in the first place?
Yes, so it would be the accounts receivable.
Not a receivable.
The payable.
Payable, right? We're going to reduce what we owe because in this context, I owe them money. All right? They can't give me money because I demand it. I want a full refund. They can only do one thing and one thing only because I never made a payment in the first place. They can only reduce it to reduce the amount that I owe them. So in this case, in order for me to get my refund, they're going to apply it to the invoice and reduce the amount that I owe them for this particular order. All right? And we talked about it earlier, right? What can you actually refund when it comes to refunding money, right? If I purchase something from a vendor, what can I return? And in this case, I can only return it at the original cost I purchased it for. I can't return freight because think about going to UPS. Can you ask your person to say, "Hey, can I get a refund on shipping?" No. In fact, you might have to pay a few shippings to return the items, and somehow maybe the vendor will reimburse you for that expense. But in this case, you can never return shipping, all right? So if I'm returning 200 items at $1 each, what is my total amount that I'm actually refunding for?
The $200 less the shipping cost, the freight cost.
Okay, so let's take a look at my in my inventory worksheet. I originally purchased each item at $1, right? I had to pay $50 worth of shipping, which then I calculated to spread my shipping cost amongst my items to be $1.05. So this includes shipping. That 5 cents includes shipping. Now my $1 is what I originally purchased it for. My 105 includes the shipping cost. In this case, I'm looking at only my original purchase price, which is just $1. I'm not looking at my total cost of purchasing the inventory, including the freight. All right, that's $1.05. So in this case, it's just at $1. Okay, so my total is going to be just $200 because the vendor is returning it to me at what I originally purchased each item for. So in this case, each toy cost me $1. Therefore, they're going to refund me $1 each, not refund the whole thing, including the shipping, because I cannot get a refund on that. That was a separate payment I had to pay in order for them to bring me the items. So in this case, 200 is what they're going to reduce from my bill.
So that's what, $850.
Okay. Okay, so you're looking at calculating your new total now. I'm just simply reducing and giving myself a refund. I'm not calculating what I owe them right now. I'm just displaying right now the transaction is that I'm returning X amount of stuff. It's like if you bought 5 shirts at a store, right? And you go to attempt to make a refund, you're only going to get credit for whatever you're returning. You're not calculating what you have left yet. Okay, so in this case, I'm returning 200, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's my journal right here that I'm displaying that the transaction right here is that I'm making a refund. The inventory worksheet is where you're actually going to show how much you actually have left on hand.
Have a good
So
day.
let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so here I am, question number 1. Now, where can I place this information for my purchase returns and allowances?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You said where, what, ma'am? I didn't hear you.
Okay, on my inventory worksheet, where can I actually place my returns and allowances?
Isn't there a section a little bit lower that says return allowances and discounts?
Correct. All right. So we're going to keep everything at the very top, right, as my net purchases. As in, I'm going to keep calculating them as original, what I originally purchased everything for. However, down here below, right, we have a section for my returns and allowances, right? So by quantity, how much did I return?
200.
200, right? At what cost? At
$1.
$1. So here you go, $1. So therefore, what was my total returns and allowances?
$200.
$200 right here. Okay? Now this is what I'm going to have you guys do. For now, let's do practice purposes only. Let's actually color these batches so then we can kind of keep ourselves knowing exactly where we are, right? I'm gonna go ahead and choose green for now, right? That this is my first batch and it's green, right? And then of course I made a refund of 200 items, right? This is my green batch because I'm making an association that this is correlated with my very first batch here, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is the best way to kind of show you where everything is or kind of keep track of your goods available is that I'm going to go ahead and use my little workspace right here in the middle, and I'm going to show you what I have available. I'm going to calculate right here to tell me how much I actually have available. So, for example, my quantity, right? I'm going to use the very top part to hold my goods available. So in this case, right, my green batch, right? If I started with 1,000, right, that's my original purchase, but I made a return, right? Now, do I actually have all 1,000 items with me right now?
No.
No, I made a refund, right? I returned 200 of them because they were broken. So right now, my green batch that I made a purchase for, right, is now, I only have 800 left, right? Now, of course, because I made a refund, I'm subtracting 200 out of my total cost, right? Because I only paid, okay, so here it shows me that I paid $1,000 because I purchased 1,000 of them at $1 each. In this case, no. I end up returning 200 of them. So therefore, I only have 800 at $1 each. But again, freight cannot be returned. Freight stays the same. So in this case, my overall total cost is also going to change as well. So therefore, I need to start recalculating my new cost per item because now I have a new total cost and I have a new quantity. All right? So in this case, right, my new total cost, okay, if I had originally my total cost was $10.50, right? That includes my freight. But how much did I actually return? How much did I get back?
$200.
You got $200. So this is Kim, this is exactly what you were calculating. You were calculating that now I should have a total cost or a total amount that I owe to be $850. That's correct right here, right? You have 800 toys costing at a total of $850, right? That's 800 by taking the times 1 plus the freight of 50, right? To get us our new total cost of $850 instead of $10.50. So here I've calculated the difference, right? When I made my return, this is what my difference is. I have 800 toys, cost me at a grand total of $850. All right? And now that
Put in the cost right there?
we are going to calculate that right now.
Oh, you do? Okay. So that goes.
Yes, because now, once again, I have a new total cost and I have a new quantity. So therefore, what should be my cost per item now?
And we're not rounding there either, right?
We're gonna leave it unrounded.
Okay. So it should be $1.10625
And how did you get that?
because you did not round the number. You
Oh.
divide 150 by 800.
Divide 150.
850,
850 by
800.
800.
All right, that means now that when I sell my batches, right, each one is gonna cost me $1.0625. Right, a quarter penny.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Instead of up here, it was $1.05, but because I returned a few items, right, I need to now spread my freight across the number of items that I have now. Since I returned 200 of them, therefore I only have 800 toys that I can spread the $50 across on. All right, giving me a cost per item to be 1.0625. Okay, 6.25. So now, because I'm keeping my batches in color, that way I can make sure that I know what happened here. Here I purchased it originally for 1,000 at $1, right? Down here recognizes that because this batch is correlated with each other, I end up returning 200 of those items. So therefore, in the middle section here, lets me know what I actually have available versus having to think in your head, well, I don't have 1,000 originally, I should only have 800. So in this case, I'm bringing it down here to show you this is your goods available. Up above is just what you purchased. Down below on the right side is what you returned, if you have any returns. So that's where I'm at right now. Okay, so in my middle section, right? This middle section is yours for whatever you want to use this section for, right? It's to show your work, to do your calculations. So right here, it's subject to whatever you want to place in here. It's not specified for anything else. This is your worksheet space right here. Okay, so here I just want to make sure that I know how much goods I have available, right? Instead of having to keep it in my mind. Oh, I should have 800. In this case, I'm showing it right here. And I've already calculated my new cost per item because I have a new cost and a new quantity. All right, so here it makes it easier because then now when I sell my items, I pick from this table here in the middle because these are going to be my goods available. All right, and it will make sense when we start plugging our numbers into our little table here on the left side. It will start piecing together and you'll understand what I am doing when we reach down to our goods available. Okay. All right, is everyone good with this one?
Yes.
Okay. So once again, now that we saw that there is a section that we can calculate our returns and allowances and discounts, therefore, once again, we are not obligated to have to journalize first. We could go to the table, right? Find our calculations and then insert our information right here. All right. But once again, we're going to practice, okay, especially journalizing our returns and allowances, right? We need to differentiate the difference between the two because in this scenario, right, I actually had a full return and a full refund, right? But this, I'm also going to also introduce other things such as, you know, returns and allowances, all right? So let's go ahead and go back to the scenario. So then, right, what happened here on June 10?
Purchase 150 toys.
Okay, so I'm going to go to my worksheet first. Okay, so June 10, we purchased 850 toys at what cost?
125.
125. And how much was the freight?
$45.
Yes, it was $45. Good. So what is going to be my purchase price?
I got 1,000. So it's wrong. Okay.
1,000. Cuz this is 850 at 125. Okay.
So the total cost with freight, it's 1,107.50.
Good. All right. And in this case, how much is it gonna? What's my cost per item going to be?
I got 1.3029.
1.3029. Right. This may be the number we're gonna use. This also could be a different number because what if we have a return here? Okay. So in this case, I'm gonna actually just associate this color, this batch with a color. So then we can, keep track of our inventory. But once again, once you guys are kind of understand where everything goes, we can take off the colors after that. So I'm going to we can use blue. Oh, wrong one. I am changing the color of that. So let's do blue. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and journalize this. Since we kind of have the idea, we already know we calculated what it's going to cost us. So June 10. Okay. What are we expected to have? What's my journal going to look like?
Purchase expense 1062.50.
Okay. Yes, good.
And then debit freight for $45. And accounts payable for 1107.50.
Good. And of course, I'm going to also make a note that I purchased 850 toys, right? That cost me $1.25 each. All right. I don't include freight because the idea is in case I do make a purchase returns and allowance, I am keeping track of my inventory and making sure that this is what each one cost me because freight is going to be completely separate expense as you can see here. All right. All right, so let's go back to our scenario. So then what happened on June 12th?
June 12th, you returned 50 toys because it was the wrong color and accepted a 20% discount.
Okay. So somehow the vendor said, well, you purchased these toys. I'm so sorry that we sent you the wrong color, but somehow they convinced us to keep the toys and also give us a 20% discount to kind of, reprimand their mistake. I'm sorry for sending you the wrong items, but I'll give you a 20% discount, kind of incentive to keep them to keep us coming back to them. All right? So in this case, that means what? I'm going to be getting an allowance, right? A 20% allowance. Now, how are we going to calculate this?
Is it, so you're gonna get an allowance of, so is it the 50 plus, 50 times $1.50?
Not $1.50. Where, not $1.50.
Aren't they $1.50 each?
All right, so make sure that when you're looking at this, so this,
$1.05.
exactly, it's going to be always associated with the previous batch above it, right? In this case, right, I can't be returning something that's from my first purchase because my first assumption is that once you receive your items, you should open every single box and make sure that all of them are there, right? In this case, we already found 200 of those items were broken. But now this time when I open up my new batch of inventory of my 850 items, I found that 50 of them were the wrong color. So that's the assumption here, is that it should be linked to the most recent batch that you opened. So in this case, it does cost me $1.25. Now, am I refunding the whole amount for the $1.25 or only 20%? Am I going to get back a full refund or am I only going to get 20% back?
The full refund plus the 20%?
Okay. No, not really.
Okay, so you return 50 of them because it's the wrong color and you accepted a 20% discount.
Correct.
So you get your credit for the ones that you returned and you get a 20% discount, right?
No.
No.
But you didn't really return the toys, correct?
You
Because,
didn't. Good.
yeah, they talked you into keeping them and
Correct.
taking 20% off the
Oh,
price that you paid.
Correct. So they're just giving you a discount off of the items that you already purchased. So in this case, you're not getting the full refund and on top of that 20% discount. No, you're just getting some of them back because you're keeping the toys.
okay. So you're going to keep the toys and they're just going to give you 20% discount off of the total of 50 toys.
Correct.
Okay.
Says you return it though. That's the confusing part.
You're attempting to, okay, so it says you're returning 50 toys, right?
Yeah, it's
Because,
already
and,
gone if you return it, right?
well, in this case, you're attempting to return it.
Okay.
But the vendor said no. I'll give you a 20% discount if you could keep those items, and I'll give you a 20% discount. And I said, that's completely fine with me, so I accept it. Now, I could also go around and say, no, I will not accept it, so I want a full refund. In this case, I didn't get a full refund because I accepted it. So I really didn't actually return my items. I attempted to return them, but instead I accepted a 20% discount.
Okay. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we can
Yeah, 'cause-
understand the way you said it. But when I read it first, I said, okay, I'll get it because they send me a wrong item. Still, I'm gonna return it and then get a 20% discount off my purchase price.
But correct, but if you return those items, right? Why would you accept a 20% discount and still have to pay for some of it? Why would you pay 80% of things that you're not keeping? Then you should have got a full refund at that point.
Okay.
Yes. So in this case, you attempted to return 50 of those toys. They were the wrong color, but they're only going to give you 20% of it back because they're trying to, say, I'm sorry for the mistake. Now, if you demanded a full refund, then yes, then you should be getting your money back. But there's no way they're gonna let you keep it, the items, and give you a full refund and give you a discount on top of that. So in this case, go ahead.
So this is a new way for us to record this because we're not really returning any items, correct?
Correct. We're getting an
We just have to what's the word? You just have to
Apply.
record the 20%.
correct. Good.
So in the inventory, the 50 toys are not there. When you do that.
They are still there because we kept them.
They were sent to the customer, right? And the customer's returning them.
No,
Where do you return them?
we're the customer.
Oh,
Because remember, we're purchasing it from someone else.
okay.
Okay.
So you're keeping. So we're keeping the toys,
Yes.
and we're going to accept a 20% discount.
Right, because it was the company's mistake for sending us the wrong product. Now instead of like and then that's what I was talking about earlier is that they talked to us in us keeping the items because they're just the wrong color. The toys are exactly the same, but they're just different colors. You can technically sell those. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just another color. So in this case, the vendor it convinced us to keep the items but give us a 20% discount off of those items because those weren't the ones that we want. We didn't request that. But for some they're convincing us to keep it because at the end of the day, you could still sell them to your customer. You could still sell them out to your in your store. So they're giving us a 20% discount because these aren't the items that we want. But they're also reprimanding themselves because they made the mistake on shipping the wrong item to us. And they want to keep us as a customer because we buy so much from them. So in this case, we're getting an allowance or a credit memo, as you guys will when we look into QuickBooks. We're getting a credit with them because they shipped us the wrong items, but they convinced us in a way to let us keep the items because at the end of the day, they're still good products. But they're giving us 20% discount because they're telling us, I'm sorry for our mistake. We'll give you a credit to reprimand our mistake.
Okay, so where is the credit applied? Is it adjusted in their total bill?
Correct. Because did we pay for these items yet? How did we pay this original purchase? So let me bring up the journal. How did I originally pay for these items?
Accounts payable.
You owe them money. So the only option is they either take it right off your bill. Correct. So there we go. We have our first thought is that we're going to be reducing our bill. Okay. So what is going to be my account that I'm going to use to display that I'm going to decrease my purchase?
Same
Purchase
purchase return
return.
and allowance.
Correct. So in this case, right, when we look at purchase returns, purchase returns is where you're actually returning the product and you're getting a full refund, right? Your allowance is where you're not returning the items, you're just getting an amount back because of whatever the situation was. Whether in this case, they made a mistake. They are the ones that sent me the wrong product. All right. So they're giving us a discount. All right. And that discount isn't a full discount because this isn't a discount that they give everybody. This is a discount because they're trying to resolve a problem. So in this case, this kind of discount is going to be considered an allowance because I'm attempting to return something, but I'm only getting a credit for it. I'm not getting all of it back. I'm only getting some of it back. So in this case, this is going to be the purchase returns and allowances. All right, this is the allowance part. Okay. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and make a note here that I'm returning 50 toys, right, at $1.25 each for 20% discount. Or in this case, I could say I can get
We can take from the total 20% discount, right?
now
No.
total which total? The total that I purchased in grand total, like all 850 toys, or just the 50 toys only?
No, from the account payable that we owe them, get 20% discount.
Okay, now did they make a mistake on the other 800 toys that we purchased?
No, since they're
No,
all the same price.
exactly. In this case, maybe those colored ones were not the same price, but they made a mistake and sent it to us. They're not going to charge us for those because that was their mistake. They sent us the wrong product. So in this case, I'm only attempting to return 50 of them. I can't get a full discount on the other items because the other items were correct. But you are correct that we are taking this against our full amount. Yes, it's because we're reducing the bill that we owe. But we can only take the discount off of those 50 toys that we originally purchased it for. Okay, so how am I going to calculate my discount?
So 50 times 1.25. And then divided by 20%.
So in this case, you would times it by 0.2. All right, and what's my total here?
So it should be $10.
It'd be $12.50. Yes, because let's see. 50 times $1.25. What is that? That's $62.50. What's 20% of $62.50?
Yeah, 12.50.
Is $12.50.
So can you calculate that again? So, okay, I got the 1250. Now, the 20%, you divided that by the 125?
No, you're not going to divide anything here. All of this, when you do a percentage, you always multiply.
So you multiply the 20% times 1250?
No, $12.50 is the discount. All right, let's do it again. So, what was the original price? The original price was 50 items at $1.25, right?
Right. And the
Which gives you how much? Good. Now, say you're trying to take 20% of 62.50.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 62.50. Mhm.
Times the 20%.
Mhm.
Okay, come to 12.50. Okay.
Now, yeah, so your $12.50 is your 20% discount.
Okay.
Okay. And of course, that way, when I'm getting my 20% discount, therefore I should be getting back $12.50, or this is going to be taken off my bill. Okay. So let's go back to our table and be able to compute that, because my section down here, my blue batch, right? I didn't actually return anything, right? Because I end up keeping those items, right? But how many of those items actually cost me? It cost me $1.25. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this batch blue, so I know that this belongs to that batch right there, right? This is my blue batch that I'm discounting off of, right? So we're going to do the same thing here, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to take our 50, right? Because it's the 50 items. I'm going to do equal round just in case, okay? So we're going to take my 6250, because I know that's what 50 times 125 is, and I'm going to multiply that by 20%. Okay? And I just want to round it just so then I ensure that it is to the nearest penny. So here I get $12.50. So if that's the case, right? How many items do I actually still have?
I'm sorry, can you put your cursor on the 1250 so I can see the formula again, please? Thank you.
So you still have the same quantity.
You still have the same quantity. Good, because in this case, I didn't actually return the items because the vendor convinced me to keep them. Okay, so here, 0. Okay. However, I got money back. If I got money back for this batch, therefore I didn't pay a grand total of $1107.50. How much did I actually pay?
We subtracted 1250 from the total cost we had before.
Mm-hmm. And what is that? What do you get here?
Oh, I can't see the top. So
Oh, so 1107.50
yeah,
minus 1250. What do you get?
Is it 10.95?
yeah.
1095. Good. So here, once again, our quantity is the same, but we have a new total cost, right? Because in this case, I only had 800 of them at $1.25, while the other 50 were discounted. We didn't pay $1.25 for them. We paid 20% lower, or a 20% discount off of those items. Okay, so therefore it affects my cost per item, because now I got a refund. I need to spread the cost evenly amongst the total items that I have available. So in this case, you're going to actually have to run your formula once again, because I have a new total cost, right? It's not $1107.50 anymore. It's now $10.95. And I have to divide this evenly amongst 850 toys. So in this case, what is my cost per item for this batch now?
1.2882.
Yes, so Once again, it's a bunch of mumbo jumbos. All right. And now I'm going to have to associate this with this batch because now we're trying to follow along, right? We know for a fact that this blue batch, right, is what I originally purchased. This blue batch is what I got either a return, allowance, or discount for. In this case, I got an allowance, all right? And therefore, my goods available is still $8.50, but now I have a total cost of $10.95 for my blue batch. All right? Everybody okay now?
Yeah.
All right. So then, let's see what happened next on June 20th.
Okay, so they purchased 500 toys at $1.50, which came to $725.
Okay,
Plus the shipping cost. Was it $25?
let's take a look.
Yes. So it came to $775. And that's the 20th. Yeah.
So what's my cost per item going to be here? Just in case we end up not returning anything from them.
$1.55.
All right, so we take our 750 divided by 500 to get $1.55. All right, and I'm just going to
55.
spread that out so we know for sure it's a rounded number. Okay. And this time, what I'm going to make this batch, we'll make it orange. So it's like a little contrasting, right? So there we have it. Okay. Now let's go ahead and journalize this once again. So what should my journal look like?
Should be purchase, freights, debits.
Okay.
So your purchase expense is $750.
Mm-hmm.
And then your freight expense is an additional $25. So your
Yes.
okay, so your accounts payable is $775. Okay.
Good. All right. That's what I owe them for this purchase is I owe them $775. Okay. So then let's take a look here. What happened on June 21st?
So 20 times $1.55 would give you $31.
Okay, so now can we take, we're getting a refund, right? Can we
Yeah.
refund it for $1.55?
No, it's $1.50.
Yes, we cannot return freight. So we can only return for the original price of $150. So 20 toys, full refund. So I'm actually returning these toys for a full refund. So I'm going to go to my inventory worksheet first. Okay. So I can kind of throw my numbers in here. So how many items did I return?
20.
20. And at what purchase or what unit cost per item did I actually, unit price did I purchase it for?
$1.50.
$1.50. So in this case, my returns and allowances is going to be
$30.
$30. All right. Is everyone okay with right here? Kim, are you okay here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So here I'm just showing that this is my calculations here that I actually returned 20 of those toys because they were defective. They're not good for me. They're not good for use for me to keep them. So in this case, I'm going to go ship them back and return it to them and I demand a full refund. So in this case, I'm actually getting rid of those items for $1.50 for a total of $30, which now let's journalize that. So it's going to be this, right? We're reducing what I owe them for this bill. I'm getting a purchase returns, right? And since we've already solved for it, right, we already know it is for $30. So refund 20 toys at $1.50 for a full refund, right? Which in this case, right, if you do your calculation here, 20 times 150 gives you 30. Okay, so my full refund is $30. Okay. So then on June 25th, what happened here?
You purchased 600 toys at $1.75.
Okay. So let's see, June 25th, we purchased 600 units at $1.75.
Which
What's
came to $10.50.
okay? Mm-hmm.
And I believe it said $25 in
Freight is 30.
freight costs. Okay, yeah, $30. So that's what 1080 total cost. Yes, 1080.
Right?
Then the cost per item,
Mm-hmm.
the 1080
1080.
divided. Oh,
Oh no, go ahead. 1080. Mm-hmm.
okay.
Divided by.
The 1080 divided by the quantity,
Mm-hmm. Which quantity? So 600.
600, which
Mm-hmm.
came to $1.80.
Okay. Now there's actually one thing I forgot to do. I forgot to update my little window here, right? So let's do both of them together since we're here already, right? My orange batch, right? I originally purchased $8.50, right? But what
Yes.
happened? I returned 20 of them, right? So what's my new quantity going to be?
480.
480. Okay. And this is going to be my orange batch, right? Now, of course, because I end up returning $30, right? Therefore, my total cost, right, of $775 is now reduced by $30. So what's my new total cost for my orange batch?
745.
$745. Good. So in this case, I have a new quantity and a new cost. So what's going to be my cost per item?
I got 1.5520.
Okay. Good. Now, let's go back to the scenario real quick, right? On June 30th, I have a total of 1,250 toys on hand. So therefore, the batch that I just put in here, right? My 600 items at $1.75, I didn't make any returns or any allowances to them. All right? So therefore, I could carry it over down below because once again, this little section here is going to be calculating my total goods available. Okay. So let's quickly go ahead and journalize this purchase real quick, and then we'll go ahead and actually start working our inventory worksheet out. So this was $625. All right. We purchased 600 units at $1.75. So what should my journal look like?
Debit accounts payable for 1,050.
1,050.
Oh, sorry.
No
Purchase
worries.
expense. Yeah.
Purchase expense. Okay, good. So once again, I think it was 600 at 175. So yes. Good. How much was my freight again? $30. Giving me a grand total for my purchase for my accounts payable to be
1,080.
180. Yes. So I'm going to make a little changes here. So we purchased 600 toys, right? At $1.75 each, right? And because we've already concluded that on June 30th that we made no purchase returns or allowances, therefore my inventory worksheet's on. There's no extra changes for this batch here. And I'm going to leave it whatever color that is. Clear. Okay? So, yes. So, now let's go ahead and total up our sums. So, let's start off with the very, very top part, okay? Let's go ahead and total up our total net purchases. So, in this case, equal sum here. How many items did I actually originally purchase in grand total?
2950. 2,950.
Good. What was my original purchase price?
3862.50.
38.62. Good. what was my original for total cost for freight?
$150.
Okay, giving me my total cost of my original purchases to be
$4,012.50.
good. So let me highlight this and format it. Okay, good, excellent. Okay. Now let's also go ahead and take our time to actually sum up these columns as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make a sum of my goods available. I'm gonna skip a line. All right, so skip a line, and I'm gonna go ahead and give me a total of my goods available. So here, after I made my returns and allowances, what is my total quantity that I should have available to sell? So this little section right here. What is my total quantity here?
I got 2730. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't.
Yep, that's correct. Yes, good. All right, and then since I have new total costs, what's the overall goods available total column right here?
I got 3770.
Good. All right. And I'm also going to go ahead right across here. Usually I do it at the very bottom, but I guess that's fine here if we do the sum here. What was my total sum of purchase returns and allowance and discounts? So for quantity, how many items did I return in grand total?
220.
220. All right. And what was the total cost of all my returns and allowances?
242.50.
242.50. Good. Okay. So let me. Okay. So I'm gonna make these bars. I'm gonna highlight them and I'm gonna make them yellow because these are the numbers that we're gonna be looking at, right? So I want to make sure that we know where these numbers come from. Okay, that these are our totals, right? So then let's go ahead and plug in our numbers here. So what was our first, we're going to talk about our net purchases first. So we originally purchased a total of 2,950 units, right? At an original cost of 3,862.50, right? Now this is where what happens when we actually have a purchase returns and allowances. In this case, I returned 220 toys, costing me at a grand total of $242.50. So in this case, right, my subtotal here is going to be 2730, right? What about my subtotal here? Even though I here's my total purchases, and now I'm subtracting out 242.50. So what is my total right now, subtotal for my net purchases?
Is it 3,620?
Yes, 3,620, right? My freight, right, is something that I can't return or do anything about, but it does add to my cost. So in this case, what was my total freight?
150.
150. All right. So now this is going to add to my total cost, right? In this case, I should have a total of $2,730 items available at a total cost of
3770.
$37.70, right? Now, of course, right, this column right here is my goods available because I have one thing that I don't have, right, which is beginning inventory. We're assuming that my beginning inventory is 0, right? We didn't have anything there. We're going to carry down our net purchases, right? But because we don't have beginning inventory, my net purchases is going to be my goods available, which I've already calculated at the top of my window right here in the middle section. So this is where this 2,770 and the 3,770 is right here. All right, that's my goods available. All right.
And that right there, you're putting in your notes. This section right here, the quantity, the cost, and the total cost. This area right here is just your notes, right?
Yes, this section here, I'll highlight it for you. This section right here is your workspace. That means if you want to have this so you don't forget where all these numbers come from or forget that or calculate anything, this whole entire space is yours.
Okay.
So if you didn't want to do that, if you didn't want to have your goods available section there, you don't need to have it there. If
Or
you're
if you
okay
wanna
with
make
memorizing it,
additional-
go ahead.
or if you want to make additional notes or
Correct.
according to your figures and stuff, this is the area that you would use.
Yes, but
Company
yes.
use. Okay.
Yes, correct.
All right.
Okay. This is also where I'm going to also use to calculate my goods, my cost of goods sold. So, all right, so let's take a look. What was my ending balance?
$12.50.
My ending balance is $12.50. Okay, so $12.50, right? So therefore, what is going to be my total goods sold?
1480.
$14.80. All right, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and this row right here, right? I'm going to use this as a way to calculate my total cost of goods sold. So if you want to section them off and like indicate what they are, you can do that. So I'll do this section right here. And I'm going to format it. I'm sorry. This is Excel. I'm going to make this section clear or because this is my workspace, right? I'm going to actually, oh, did I highlight too much? So I'm going to section this off right here. And I'm going to make this my cost of goods sold. All right. So that means this section above here is my goods available. If you didn't start at the very, very top, you could section them off, right? So then it makes it easier for you to kind of pick and choose your, when you calculate your cost of goods sold, when you calculate your cost of goods sold, at least you know where to pick from, right? This is your goods available, right? You're not going to go up here because this is your net purchases. You're going to refer everything down here because this is what you actually have available, right? And I'm going to slowly pull my information down because this is my cost of goods sold. So equals sum. Right? So I'm going to do a running balance so that every time I enter in a number here, right, it's going to calculate for me how much I have sold already. So in this case, my goal is that I'm trying to calculate my total cost of goods sold, right? So in this case, I sold a total of 1480 items, okay? We're doing FIFO, right? First in, first out. So in this case, which batch am I going to be taking out from first in my goods available section here?
The 800.
The
Green.
800, good, the green batch, right? So I sold my first 800, and I know for a fact there's no need to calculate this, but again, if you are looking into that, right, then you already know that the full batch, you don't need to calculate it because you're getting rid of the whole entire thing. So therefore, it should be equal to 850. All right? Now that's just me selling my first 800 items, right? That's my green batch. So if I get rid of that green batch, and I have, how many more do I need to sell?
So your goal is to get to the 1480?
Correct. Because we're calculating our cost of goods sold, right? We're
Right.
using FIFO. So the idea is that we're going to sell out the first batches that we first purchased. So in this case, my green batch is the first thing that I bought.
Okay. Then
So I'm selling that out.
you
Mhm.
sell out. Oh, so eight, that'll be 1650, and you're trying to get to up a little more. Is it 14?
It's
1480.
1480.
Okay, so
You could do a little quick math here, right? 1480
minus the
minus 800.
so you have a total
680.
of 680.
You need 680 more items, right?
Right.
So in this case, which batch would I be taking out next if I already got rid of my green batch?
You'll take it from the 850.
You'll take it from the blue batch, 850. Good. Now in this case, I'm only taking some of it and not all of it. So in this case, I need to calculate my cost per item. So in this case, it's going to cost me, right, $1,288,235. So this is where your equal round is going to come into play, because this number is something I have to round at the end, not right now. I'm going to hold this number in my calculator and I'm going to continue on and calculating what 680 of those is going to cost me. So in this case, equal round, right? I taught you this yesterday. Equal round. The first argument is going to be what my equation is going to be. So in this case, I want to know what 680 times 1,288,235 is going to cost me, right? And then I'm going to end my argument with a comma. And my next argument is going to be how many decimal places do I want to round to? In this
That is
case,
2.
I'm rounding to 2 decimal places. Good. So then what is going to be my total cost for selling 680 units?
You're going to close it off right there?
I'm going to,
Or is there
yes.
another comma?
No. That's it.
You close it off. That's where you close off your formula.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So then, how much is it going to cost me to sell 680 items at $1,288,235?
I'm not sure. E24. That's 680 times F24.
Okay.
So 680 times the 1.288235. Ooh, comes to something really crazy. What's that? 875.99.
$875.99. What's the digit after that? Round up.
Round up would be 876.
Good. Because I think it goes 998
Yeah,
something. Mm-hmm.
right.
So in this case, we sold a rounded number of $876. So in this case, right, right here tells me I've already calculated my cost of goods sold right here, right? So in grand total, for selling a total of 1480 toys, it cost me a total of $1726. All right. So then, what is my ending balance going to be?
Would you subtract the 1726 from the 3770?
Correct.
2044.
2044.
2044. Right? And that's how we use the inventory worksheet to calculate everything here. So here, this is your net purchases. All right? Every purchase that you make, you're just going to place it in here. Any returns or allowances is going to be this bottom right table here. Okay? And in the middle section is up to you, whatever you want to do, whether you want to put your work in here, but most of it is so you can be able to calculate your cost of goods sold. All right. And then of course the left side is where you're actually going to do all your calculations. You're going to calculate your net purchases, you're going to calculate your beginning inventory, your goods available, etc., your ending balance, and your cost of goods sold. Okay. All right, so now that we have all of our information intact, let's go ahead and journalize this. Okay? So, right, we reached the end of our given period. So, 6:30, right? So, how should I be journalizing this? Well, this is my conversion entry. So, I need to convert my expenses into inventory. So, what should my journal look like?
First, you'll have your purchase expense.
No,
No,
not
you have
purchase expense.
inventory on hand, so
Good. Now, in this case, what did I actually buy?
toys. Is that what it is?
Correct. So, in this case, right, I'm going to specify exactly what I bought as my inventory because, right, I might not be a store that just sells toys in general. I could be a store that sells toys, bikes, skateboards, um, you know, other things, right? I could sell a lot of other things. Now, if you could put it in an umbrella or in a main category, right? And just say inventory, then, you're going to have to be able to differentiate your purchases of toys versus your purchases of bikes versus the purchases of your other stuff, right? So, what I'm doing here is that I am building a sub account, right? And in this case, instead of my main account being inventory, I'm breaking it down even further to specify exactly what my inventory item is. In this case, I have toys. All right? So then, what else do I also need to include?
Cost of goods sold.
We also need to recognize our cost of goods sold. All right? What else do I need to recognize?
So we're gonna credit the purchase expenses, right?
Yes, you're gonna credit your purchase expense.
And what about your discount, your 20% discounts,
Okay, so
your allowances, your credit, and your
Yeah,
allowances and
that comes after. We
okay,
got
so
freights and allowances later.
okay, so Nathan says freight. And then he says the allowances come after. Now, in this case, let's go ahead and just test where we need to put this, because so far we've seen this is what we've been practicing, right? We don't know what happens when a purchase returns comes into play, all right? So let's go ahead and just plug these numbers in, and then we'll determine where our returns and allowances go, okay? So let's go ahead and let's see. So the first thing that we have was our ending inventory. What was the value of your ending inventory?
Oh, 2044?
2044. What was the total cost of goods sold?
1726?
1726. All right. What was the total of your original purchases?
That's 37.
3862.50.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. And then what was your total freight? Oops, sorry. What was your total freight?
150.
Okay. So let's go ahead and throw in my equal sum, right? Just to ensure my total debits match my total credits. So I have 3,770 on my left side, and I have 4,012 and 50. So what am I missing here? All right, if you want a hint.
So you're missing the 242.50.
Correct. So 24250. And what is that? Where does my 24250 come from?
Under your returns, allowances, and discounts.
So correct. So in this case, we're going to be debiting. Yes.
That's what
Good.
it is.
Purchase. Well, in this case, you guys both recognized it, right? Kim says, what do you do with the discounts? Nathan, you recognize that as it's supposed to be a credit.
But
So in
you
this
said it came
case,
later.
So now we did recognize it, but now we have to debit this account. All right. So then now we pan out both sides, my debit and my credit match. So in this case, the reason why it's a debit, because just exactly how we journalized it originally, right? My purchases, right, were all debit accounts, right? They're all debit accounts, right? And my purchase returns and allowances were always credit accounts, right? So now that I'm making my conversion entry, right? Notice this. I'm crediting my purchase expenses and my freight expense, and I'm debiting my purchase returns and allowance. So in this context here, we are going to be using the idea of the contra account. So in this case, if I'm crediting my purchase expense because I'm zeroing out my account, I'm going to do the same thing with my purchase returns and allowances, because right now it has a credit balance. So now I need to debit it to zero out that account. Okay? Because remember, these are contra accounts, right? This is a contra account to the original purchase expense itself. So in this case, that's the context here. All right. Any questions and comments about this exercise right here?
No.
Okay. So let's go ahead and take a break real quick, because it is now exactly 10:02. So what we're going to do next when we come back is we're going to see what happens when we have to deal with beginning inventory. So let's take a nice 20-minute break.